Hello everyone to my new Let's Look At Undertale. Undertale is a old school game, or at least old school feeling game, that if you ever played Earthbound, or really any other jrpg that was kind of old like that, you'll feel right at home. The only real difference is, instead of actually, hitting things with a baseball bat, a la NES, or whatever game you chose to play, you don't actually kill anything. Ever. So what do you do during combat, Barak? Do you just sit there and get beat on? Well, hopefully you don't. You can actually dodge things. It's a unique battle system. It's fun and addictive. But the world is not as sunshine and oysters as it originally, appears. Because, it starts off with a tutorial. That's kind of standard. But there's something a little bit different that with this world than you're probably used to in most games anymore. That's right. They made the first tutorial person someone who wants to kill you. It kind of sets the tone for the rest of the game, really. And yeah, you can actually move your heart so you don't get hit. I didn't know that at this point, but if this was a real fight, you'd die right there. But thankfully, our Deus Ex Machina is here to save the day. Now, of course, you might think, well, is she going to kill us? I don't know. I do not know. I'm only about half an hour into the game right now. So, she might later, she might not. But she is an ally for the very first half an hour of the game, so I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler, but come on. It's half an hour. If you picked up the game, you're gonna find that anyway. Now, the stars are where you can save your game, and just... I think it restores your HP as well. You'll find these throughout your adventures. They're actually pretty scarce. You don't really want to just not save when you see them. You always want to do that. And this is basically just telling you how you're going to be going through the world at large and figuring out different puzzles. I've yet to run into a puzzle like that, but I'm sure I will. But the puzzles are actually kind of challenging. Well, I don't know about challenging. They'll make sure you actually pay attention. Let's just put it that way. And if you have bad memory like I do, you're going to be playing a lot longer than you ever have to. But that's not necessarily bad. But yeah, this is really just for those who want to see what the game's like, want to see what you can do in the game, how the game plays, how it feels. Is this game even right for me? I mean, it's obviously not a AAA game. It's not meant to be a AAA game. It's meant to just be... I don't know if it's meant to be satire, because it kind of is. About the whole love and peace, don't kill anything vibe going on that's like anti-AAA games, but it's fun in its own way. And there are some funny moments that you will undoubtedly find by doing something you weren't supposed to do, or doing something you were supposed to do in a different way, and it's... I can't wait to actually play this game a little bit more. It is a little bit... I'm sure most people would say it's not really worth how much it is on Steam. Because normally I think it's, what, $10 on Steam? I'm sure you can probably get that on sale for like $3 when the sale hits. That's what I'd recommend you do, but... if you like games like this and it's worth $10 for you, go ahead, man. But you have to like JRPGs. Now, we'll get a little more into the actual combat when we actually get to, a combat. You are encouraged not to fight, but to act, and stall, and wait for Mommy to come save you. Except Mommy kind of leaves in a while, so then it's just you. Considering she says, let me just solve it while you stall. Not exactly a very good battle plan in the long term, but it'll get us to where we need to go for now. I was exploring, okay? I wanted to see if the vines did anything. I played Zelda growing up, okay? I remember being able to climb on vines. Which, by the way, took me forever to find that playing Ocarina of Time the first time through. Here's our first actual fight, and I think I did really terrible at it, but... Yeah, I never actually did fight. I know you can't, I've actually hit enemies before, but yeah, that's what I'm talking about. She wants you to just stall, wait for her to solve the thing, but she leaves in a while. So you don't get used to that. I love that face she made, though. It's like, I'm getting real tired of your crap. That look that made the thing just run. Why did I go back? I guess I really do explore a lot. I usually don't think of myself as an explorer in games. Oh yes, this puzzle. Could you solve this puzzle? There is an easy puzzle here. You just gotta think back to what they said. This is the kind of stuff that you'll be expected to do later on. Go through death-defying spike traps with your memory alone. In essence, yes, I am screwed. But it'll be funny. It will be funny. There's no doubt about that. And this concludes the first little tutorial area. I think there is a tiny bit more of a tutorial right here, but in the next... We'll get through the first boss fight, and then we'll call it a day. Because I don't want to spoil the whole game. This is not a Let's Play. This is just a... You know, just... See if you actually would like to play the game before you go and spend the $10 or $3 or however much you decide to pay for it. It'll probably be on the Humble Bundle sometime soon if it's not already or hasn't been. I don't think it is like the day this video comes out, but yeah, it probably will be at some point. Oh yes, well, I think we're at the very end of the tutorial and we are about to be dropped right on our own, which I don't think really takes all that long from here, but after this there is no just stalling. After this you gotta spare things. And sparing things is sort of what ends the battle. It's you let it run away, essentially. Because, look at us, we're a child. You think a child with a little stick, which I think was, if you go to your character thing, you are equipped with a pointed stick, so I think that's really all you got. I mean, you look to be, what, a 5-year-old with a pointed stick? You don't go around just, you know, trying to kill things with a pointed stick as a 5-year-old in games, unless you're, like... Well, no, I don't think even Ness did it with a pointed stick. I think he had a baseball bat, which is quite a bit better than a pointed poking stick. Mind you, I only played Earthbound a few times in my life, but the times I remember, those are the fun ones. And there's actually a fair amount of different enemies that all react differently depending on what you do. Some of them are scared, some of them are indifferent, some of them react better to threats, some of them react better to flirting and compliments, and consoling. You get what I'm saying here. Is the game trying to teach you that, yep, you have to end the battle yourself by going to the spare button, I think. If monster does not want to fight you, use mercy. So no, I don't think you actually can kill things unless you keep fighting, maybe, which I never did because it seemed like the game's pushing you toward not doing that. And as much as I like pushing against the grain and all, I usually try and learn what the game's about before I start trying to screw with it. I mean, you go feel free to do it in your game, tell me what works and what doesn't work, but... yeah. Here's another puzzle coming up. Usually when you see those little marks on the floor, that means that, there's holes there. Of course, my stupid self couldn't realize what the ending to the puzzle. Why can I not remember what that word is? The solution, that's the one. For no reason in particular, which do you prefer? The answer is, of course, cinnamon. I like butterscotch, but cinnamon reigns king of those two. With all due respect. I've had a lot of good times with butterscotch, but butterscotch makes me nauseous if I eat too much of it. Why the heck did I just go on a cinnamon and butterscotch rant? Oh yeah, right, the question. You're right, that's what that was. If you can't figure out this puzzle, you're not going to get very far. If you've never played The Legend of Zelda, go play The Legend of Zelda, and then come back here so you can learn the basics of puzzle solving. Of course, Barok just sits there and looks at the rock. Maybe I didn't even realize either. And yeah, there's random battles. Random battles are a staple of the genre, folks. You're not going to get rid of them in a JRPG, and if they did, you're not playing a JRPG. You're playing some abomination. That's probably still fun, but... Oh yes, this is one of the more unique puzzles that I ran into during my short time playing. Let's see if you can figure out the puzzle solution right here. What's the puzzle solution? You can tell from this screen alone. Of course, I didn't know that at the time, but... The layout of this floor is basically the layout with all the holes on the floor above me. So, it's the little things like that. You gotta pay attention to what's around you. If you don't, you're never gonna figure it out, or you're going to try and brute force it, which takes a very long time, considering that's what I did, and it took me around 4 to 5 extra pure minutes just to get through this one puzzle alone. So yes, brute forcing, while great fun, and makes you feel better if you ever actually do it, not efficient at all. Plus, if the enemy's name is in yellow, I think that means you can spare it and be done with it. I may have messed up quite a few times, as evidenced. Pay no attention to the mess-ups. Oh yes, you remember when they said 3 out of 4 rocks prefer to be pushed? They weren't just making that up, that was not just flavor text, that was actual legitimate, advice. That's one of the funniest ones I had to do. Oh, you wiggle your hips. I guess technically that is flirting, it's just a bit more direct than most people would do. It's like on the level of Bender on Futurama. He decides he has to seduce someone, so he just starts going bow chicka bow, and then just starts just pelvic thrusting. I mean, that's about the same. I mean, I guess that's saying Bender has the intellect of a 5-year-old human as far as that, but yeah, some rocks are actually alive. I don't know if this is going to be a mainstay in the game, I don't know. Or if this is just one of those smart aleck things where the game said 3 out of 4 rocks prefer, but there's always the one that doesn't. It's just little things like that. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but I found it funny. My sense of humor. And if you have my sense of humor, you'll probably find a lot of this game's humor as well just great. Because it's satire on a lot of different games. All in one. And I like a good satire in games, and that's another save point, and right after this is the next boss fight, or the first boss fight, and then we'll call it a day. Because the first boss fight actually is... I don't want to say challenging, but it introduces where there are right things to say and where there are not. Even if you keep saying the wrong thing, you'll never get through it. So, it's kind of old school in that as well. You gotta eventually do the right thing. This guy keeps saying Z out loud repeatedly, pretending to sleep. Is that ever a question I say no to? Use force? Also, the music's awesome. I'm sorry, I was like moving my head to the music. I love that music. I just got distracted there. And a lot of enemies' attacks get worse and worse to dodge as you go further in the game. And by worse, I mean fun. Really not feeling up to it right now, sorry. That's a triple entendre, I think. Because I didn't know what to say there either. Yes, because I have to flirt with everything I see, as long as it looks like vaguely like a female form, okay? I'm a guy, alright? Had to see if it worked. But now that I learned that it hadn't worked, and the thing looks like it's about to cry, I didn't think threatening it probably would have been very nice. That's what this game turns you into, a nice person. There's worse things it could turn you into. Just look at it that way. So no, not all fights are going to be ended by mercy. Which I'm guessing this is supposed to teach you as well. It's basically just a are you paying attention check, because the game tells you what you're supposed to do. I don't know if it'll always do that, but since this is the first boss, I'm guessing that's why it did that. About the whole cheering made its mood go up, that's kind of a hint. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today, guys. Hopefully this made you make a decision on if you want to get this game or not. And hopefully I shall see you next time. If you'd like to help support the channel and help it grow, you may wish to like or even subscribe for easier access to future videos. Farewell everyone, until next time.